This video was written and recorded before the release of Splatoon 3, so if anything is wrong, no, I did not have the information beforehand. Hello, Squid and Octo kids! Welcome to It's a Splat Theory. I'm your host, Kat, and before we get started with the video today, why don't you super jump over to that like button, splat the subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Have you ever wondered what the Inkling language really is? I know some people say that it's just the language that Inklings use to communicate, but I think it might be more than just that. I know what I'm going to suggest might sound crazy, but I tell you, I do have a good reason for thinking what I do. Trust me. Now let's jump into it. One more aside before we start the theory. I'm going to be talking about the written language, not the spoken one. Just thought you should know. Now, you're probably wondering what I think the Inkling language is, or not, because you probably read the title of the video. But I'm going to tell you anyway. I think that the Inkling written language is the last language of humans. You heard me right. I think the Inkling language is really what became of the human's language. And why do you think this, you're probably asking? Well, that's what I'm about to tell you. First, let's look at some examples of the Inkling's writings that look suspiciously like some languages we have here. First, I want to point out the on-air sign above Off the Hook's recording studio that also appears above the Squid Sisters. It looks a lot like the words on air, and there are more examples too, like how these letters look like an I, an upside down F, and an A. Or how there are real numbers here, and more numbers. And with the Squid Sisters logo, it looks like a P and an I. And those look like they could just be fancy cursive. But not all of my evidence is based on the way you look at things. Not all of it can be chalked up to coincidence. No, I have a piece of proof that no one can ignore. I'm talking about the Sunken Scrolls! Sunken Scroll 21. What is this? It looks like the proprietor of that shoe shop. Could there have been an ancient creature that consumed prawns as foods? A terrifying thought indeed. Now everyone agrees that this is meant to be a relic from ancient human civilization, but if you actually look at it, you can see that what is written isn't English, isn't Japanese, it isn't even French or Korean or anything else. It is the Inkling written language. But even more than that, there's the Splatfest fax machine. Now, little is known about the fax machine, other than it is a relic from the old world and is held in high regard by Inklings. So, since it's a fax machine, from before everyone on Earth was wiped out, that must mean that what is being sent and received is from technology that was around when fax machines were still a thing. And if that's so, then something that's capable with a fax machine wouldn't have its text in the Inkling language if the Inklings had created the written language themselves. If I'm not right, then it just doesn't make sense. There, it's practically confirmed that what the Inklings use for their written language is really what's become of humanity's last language. But wait, you want to know how this all happened, don't you? Well, I think I might be able to explain that. As you should know, before what happened in Splatoon was the fall of humanity. First, it started with the sea levels rising, and then it got spiked downhill even farther with World War V. Eventually, the tides rise enough that it ends up killing all of humanity. Then the sea creatures came up from the waters and inhabited the ground. Eventually Splatoon rolls around, then a couple of years later there's Splatoon 2, and now Splatoon 3. Anyways, now that you have an abridged version of the history of the world of Splatoon, it's time to focus on what's possibly going to make or break this theory. Okay, so to my line of thinking, after World War V, when the sea levels started to rise even more dramatically, people from all over the world probably started banding together more, but they didn't know how to communicate. So they ended up trying to combine all of the languages of the countries that started to band together. So that could be the origin of the language. But I hear you asking how the Inklings ended up using it. Well, I have a theory for that too. While the Inklings started to discover what humanity had left behind, they found many artifacts with writing on it. So they spent time figuring out what it all meant, kinda like decoding a word puzzle. And eventually they figured it out. And with word of mouth, they started using some of the words that they found and liked. And they also used the number system. But they started to add more of their own letters and words. That's how we got the Inkling language as we know it. Or that's my theory on it, anyways. Now it's time for fun facts. Did you know Big Man is the first male idol in Splatoon? And did you know Splatoon 3 isn't having regional specific copies of the game? If you have any questions about the Splatoon series, or any theories you want me to cover, comment them below. And as always, stay fresh, stay off the hook, and stay cool, Squid and Octo kids.